It's election season in India and Lord Ram has once again been pushed into the fray. The Ayodhya dispute has taken centre stage. The Narendra Modi government at the centre has filed a petition in India's top court. The argument is this: 67 acres of land around the disputed site is out of bounds, but the disputed patch is only 0.3 acres, 0.3 acres out of 67. So the government is now asking the court to return the rest of the land, to hand over the rest of the land to a Hindu trust that wants to build a Ram temple in Ayodhya. The centre had acquired 67 acres of land around the disputed site in 1993. 1 year later, India's Supreme Court had upheld the acquisition. The court had also ordered that the land will remain in possession of the central government and must not be released in anyone's favour until the dispute is settled. But the government's plea now states that only 0.3 acres of the land is disputed. It has asked the court to return the remaining land to the trust.
BJP always believes that the Ram temple has already been built. Every day thousands of visitors visit the temple. Now we have to make it magnificent. And that work will be done always, as we said. It is not government which will do it. It is the Ram Janmabhoomi Nyas or whatever the bodies are concerned, they will do.
Remember, the Supreme Court had ordered a freeze on activity at the disputed site and surrounding areas. This order came after the Babri Masjid demolition. The mosque was demolished by a mob that demanded a temple be built at the site, which is believed to be the birthplace of Lord Ram. But the dispute has always been used by political parties as an election plank. Successive BJP governments have promised to seek a speedy resolution of this issue. The current dispensation has also been under pressure from right-wing groups, its own members as well as allies like the Shiv Sena, to bring an ordinance to enable the temple construction. Earlier this year, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that the government would wait for the judicial process to be over. Listen into what he had to say.
न्याय की प्रक्रिया को न्याय के तरीके से चलने दिया जाए, उसको राजनीति के तराजू से न तोला जाए और मामला न्यायपालिका में है उसको पूर्ण किया जाए। न्यायपालिका से आने के बाद सरकार की जिम्मेवारी जहां शुरू होती है, हम पूरी तरह प्रयास करने के लिए तैयार हैं।
But it seems that pressure on the government is only mounting. The Supreme Court has not immediately responded to this petition. The case has been in the court for the last 2.5 decades without any resolution. Here's a ready reckoner of what this dispute is all about.
Treta Yuga, one of the 4 ages of humankind according to Hinduism, spanning 13 lakh years. The period when Lord Ram, the 7th reincarnation of Vishnu, is born in Ayodhya. The period marked by dharma and morality. 1528 AD, Sunni Mughal Emperor Babur is in India. His army general, Mir Baqi, a Shia, constructs a mosque, destroying a temple marking the birthplace of Lord Ram and building on its foundations what came to be known the Babri Mosque. December 23, 1949. Idols of Lord Ram appear inside the mosque, allegedly put there by Hindus. Widespread protests follow. Hindus and Muslims file suits. The government locks the gates and declares the site disputed. Decades of court cases follow. 1st February 1986. A court allows Hindus to pray before the idols. 1989. Then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi allows Shilanyas, or a foundation laying ceremony, close to the mosque structure. September 25th, 1990. BJP leader L.K. Advani launches a Rath Yatra, or religious procession, from Somnath to Ayodhya to build support for a Ram temple. December 6th, 1992. Hundreds of Karsevaks or volunteers tear down the mosque and a makeshift temple is erected in its place. Massive countrywide riots follow. At least 2,000 are killed. The matter is back in court and on election manifestos of political parties. 2010, the Allahabad High Court divides the disputed land into 3 parts. The order is challenged in the Apex Court, which is yet to pass a judgment.
Now the latest from Brexit. It's a crucial day for British Prime Minister Theresa May. The House of Commons will vote on May's Brexit Plan B. The lawmakers will also vote on a series of alternatives, the solutions they've suggested. Theresa May has informed her cabinet that she will ask the EU to reopen the withdrawal agreement. Not just that, she's determined to seek legally binding changes to the Irish backstop. Theresa May's comments have come even as the European Union rejected the idea of renegotiating Brexit. They do not want to revise this deal.
Deal that sets us on course for a bright future. That's what I believe this House wants. It's what this government wants, it's what I want, and it is what the British people want. And today, we have the chance to show the European Union what it will take to get a deal through this House of Commons.
So there are 3 amendments that will be debated today. The first one seeks legal changes to the issue of the Irish backstop. Senior Conservative leader Graham Brady has proposed to vote for an alternative to the backstop, but there are no finer details on his proposal just yet. Theresa May has backed this amendment. She believes a favourable vote on the amendment will help her in the talks with the European Union. A majority of the Conservative pro-Brexiteers are opposed to a no-deal scenario.
And I think there's much less appetite to have a no-deal scenario. So I think that it's in everybody's interest that we come to an agreement that allows the United Kingdom to leave the European Union, but with minimal disruption on both sides.
No, I've always been in favour of getting a deal, but no deal's nothing to be frightened of. Other members of the party are more frightened of no deal, and if we can have some unity, I think that is a good thing and would be in the national interest.
Senior Conservative lawmakers Jacob Rees-Mogg and former Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson have demanded that Theresa May should reopen the issue of the Irish backstop. The Prime Minister is expected to talk to EU leaders after the House of Commons vote today. There is another amendment that the Labour Party is looking at with interest. Labour Party is likely to back the so-called Cooper Amendment. It aims to extend the Article 50 negotiating period. This will mean that the Brexit deadline can be extended by 9 months if the Parliament does not agree on an exit plan by the 13th of February. A positive result on Cooper Amendment would help the Labour Party to wrest control from Theresa May as well as eliminate the chances of a catastrophic no-deal Brexit. But the Conservatives have issued a whip against this amendment. There is another crucial amendment before the House of Commons drafted by a Conservative and a Labour senior leader. This amendment seeks to prevent Brexit altogether. So where do things stand for Theresa May? If the Parliament does not reach an agreement on a Brexit deal till the 13th of February, Theresa May is likely to reopen discussions on Brexit. After 18 months of painful negotiations, Theresa May and the European Union had agreed on a plan for the Irish backstop, but now they're back to square one, it seems. The United Kingdom is still in a Brexit flux. There is no consensus on crucial issues and the no-deal scenario is not ruled out till now. The possibility of a no-deal Brexit, in fact, has caused concerns for people as well as businesses. The shadow of a no-deal Brexit and the Irish backstop loom large on Prime Minister May, even as she seeks an approval for her Plan B. For more on this, we have Wion correspondent Natalie Powell with us from London. Natalie, how are things shaping? Does the debate hold any clues to which way this is going? Is it inching closer to a no-deal Brexit scenario?
Well, of course, that's one of the things we're likely to find out about following the day-long of debates that we're experiencing at the moment with MPs in Parliament. They are debating some 7 amendments that have been tabled and then chosen by the Speaker of the House of Commons. Amendments to, of course, the original Brexit deal that Theresa May failed to pass through the House of Commons. Now, the UK government has backed one of the amendments, which is all about reopening negotiations surrounding the Irish border backstop issue, which we know has been a real sticking point throughout this Brexit negotiation period, and certainly MPs are not very happy with the backstop solution that has been proposed. What this amendment is doing, though, is proposing alternative arrangements. What they will look like, however, will need to be debated by MPs, and possibly then the UK Prime Minister will be able to go back to Brussels, try to reopen that EU withdrawal agreement, which all EU member states have signed off on. So that's clearly not going to be a very popular move. But to try to get some clarity on that, some more assurances on that, so that MPs in the UK Parliament would potentially vote through another deal. But as you said, the date of leaving the EU is drawing ever closer. That's the 29th of March. Of course, the default position is a no deal. And what we're seeing from some of these amendments are ways to try to avoid that no deal from taking place. But a lot of negotiations are expected, and certainly as that date creeps ever closer, if there is no solution or no Brexit deal decided and signed off on by UK Parliament, then certainly the UK could well be facing a no-deal exit from the European Union.
So we've seen endless debates, we've seen a barrage of news flashes coming out of the House of Commons, but it seems that all they're doing is a lot of talking and a lot of politics. What about the people of Britain? Are they tired? Has the Brexit fatigue set in even before Brexit begins?
I think the Brexit fatigue possibly set in some time back, of course. We've been hearing about that here in the UK for the past 2 years, with the negotiations taking place, of course. The UK Prime Minister herself says that she believes that the people of Britain simply want a deal to be done. And of course, there are warnings about what a no-deal scenario would look like, that it could be damaging to the UK in a number of ways, but equally, it could also be fairly damaging to EU member states as well. So there is a lot of uncertainty in the UK at the moment about what it is that is going to happen. Of course, this is a very divided country over the subject of Brexit. The vote itself, the referendum results itself, almost split down the middle, 52% voting to leave, 48% voting to remain, of course. So this was always going to be a very difficult situation to try to tread those two paths, given that the results were so close, really. And I think what we are seeing is a lot of people are quite nervous about what the future may hold, but also wondering what is actually going to happen with this stalemate that appears to be taking place in the British Parliament.
Right, Natalie Powell, thanks very much for joining us. The vote slated for later today. Of course, we'll be tracking the story coming out of London. Meanwhile, in the US, the Midwest region of the country is in the middle of one of the harshest winters in history, and things are only set to get worse now. An Arctic blast that sends temperatures plunging as low as minus 45 degrees Celsius and brings with it heavy snow and blizzards is now threatening the people of states like Ohio, Michigan and Colorado.
Who would have thought that this was the sign of things to come? The winter has surely arrived in the American Midwest and has made the makers of popular TV series Game of Thrones sound prophetic with their "Winter is coming" tagline, last and final season. While heavy snow and strong winds have already prompted blizzard alerts, the region is now bracing for what's called as an Arctic blast. A cold weather condition that can send the entire region into a deep freeze, putting millions of people and animals at risk. Hypothermia and frostbite can occur within minutes in the final days of January. The states of Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin and Minnesota have been the worst hit. In Minnesota, temperatures plunged below minus 45 degrees Celsius, breaking a 53-year-old record. Several schools in the Midwest have remained shut. Snow has blocked main highways in the region, disrupting traffic. It has made traveling difficult in the state of Colorado too. Several flights have been cancelled at the Denver International Airport, while buses and trains ran behind schedule. Health officials are warning residents to stay indoors unless it is absolutely necessary.
I wouldn't go outside unless it was for an emergency or if it was a work-related thing that you absolutely had to do. But given the fact that it's going to be minus 50, minus 60 degrees wind chill, the best thing is just to stay indoors until this sort of heads out of town. The temperature is going to be so cold that within a matter of just a few minutes, you can get significant frostbite.
In Milwaukee, residents have been seen clearing snow from their driveways and sidewalks as they braced for the cold to intensify. Residents said that they are just hoping for the weather to get better. Authorities have issued a travel warning in North Dakota state over fears of a snowstorm. Widespread lows of minus 30 degrees Celsius are set to grip much of North Dakota, eastern South Dakota and Minnesota. As biting winds usher in the Arctic blast, temperatures can drop below minus 40 degrees from Fargo to Minneapolis and Chicago on Tuesday night, and stay that way until Wednesday night. Temperatures in Chicago can drop to 25 below zero for the first time since the mid-1980s. However, there is one person in the United States who's a little confused about the cold snap, and that person is none other than President Donald Trump. Known for his controversial comments on climate change, Trump tweeted that global warming needed to quote-unquote come back to save the US Midwest from the harsh winter. Now, just to clear the confusion that Mr. Trump has, extreme weather conditions are in fact caused by global warming. Scientists have found that as the ice melts in the Arctic, winters got harsher in the United States. It even resulted in low rainfall in South America. But that's going to be rather difficult to explain to Trump. Bureau Report, Wion, World is One.